unity on Chuck?
Nothing but unity. As long as you're a Fedak,
Always the writers. Always the writers.
He is the brains. Chris is the brains. Chris is. He's the best.
Get out. Stop. Oh,
nobody writes like Fedak.
No one should either. A lot of bad grammar.
So can I make a suggestion for a reference that you haven't done yet?
Okay.
Reference Ghostbusters.
Is there anything under that track jacket?
Come on, you gotta get it.
I would love to do a Ghostbusters.
Casey has to say that's a big twin.
I like that. I like that. Ghostbusters is awesome. It's obviously a show.
I know, it's one that I haven't seen.
I'd rather reference the cartoon where they changed the color of Harold Ramis' hair.
Are you talking about the real Ghostbusters?
Yeah, the real Ghostbusters.
Not that weird.
Curly blonde hair.
Weird. Remember that one where they drive around in an old truck car? Yeah, that's strange.
Slimer's not a good guy.
Slimer? I don't know, they made him a series regular, and he's like the wacky neighbor. We talk about that. We talk about 80s
cartoons
Babies for a little while.
That would be good. Yeah.
I feel like Toy Story owes a lot to Muppet Babies. Think about it.
There's a TIE fighter in that.
And is there any animated show that Chuck is like kind of just drawn from? You draw from an animated.
Chuck has a kind of a Bugs Bunny quality to him, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
The bad guys are Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, it's funny. Our studio is Warner Brothers, and we actually in that episode used some like clips of, I think the Coyote and Roadrunner.
Yes.
And the show feels like that sometimes. Like when we set up like wackadoodle action and stuff like that, we still want it to feel real and intense and whatnot. But we do like that. We love the specificity of like this is how the comedy works. This is the action set up, and there's a real kind of like structure to it, not totally dissimilar from Warner Brothers.
Do you know where would you like the show to end? I mean,
when?
No, where?
Yeah.
Not
Where?
when. I mean, do you have an
Wyoming
ending?
or
An ending that you would
where?
like
Like in the narrative of the character's part.
or do you just keep on writing?
I think
Well, he does.
We just keep on writing. No,
Chris writes so they tell him to put the pen down.
I'm paid by the word. No, the weird thing about it is that for us, it's always been like each season kind of opens up new possibilities. So for us, it's like the idea of just like closing up shop and just like saying this is the last thing that we have written and it's right out there. It's kind of no fun. We actually like the idea that we are always discovering the show and discovering the characters, and that for each season you'll find up a new way of like where we want to take this character and how he's going to change and who he's going to become. It's like the idea that Chuck's going to become a wonderful, fantastic spy is a neat idea, but maybe that's not where he's going. Maybe we'll find something themselves.
If you guys hadn't always been on the verge of cancellation from season to season, how do you think that might have affected the writing and changed the way you introduce plot points?
This is always the challenge with the show. It's like in your first year, you're like, I don't know if we're ever going to make more than 13. So you're always in that battle of like, how much do we do up front? How much do we hold on to? Even in season 1, it was like, we got to bringing Bryce back and the mythology of Bryce Larkin, and Chuck and Sarah had like their first big kiss, like what, episode 8 of season 1. And basically everything I should have learned from the OC I completely forgot, of like blowing through too much story too early. And we kind of did that again with the show. But luckily there was a lot more story to tell. And I think we had talked about the Kung Fu download reveal. And that was something we had talked about doing potentially at the end of season 1. But then the writer's strike happened. So we couldn't do that because we didn't get to finish the season. So then we knew that was going to be the end of season 2, and it was about how do we rebuild to earn that. But it probably just results in slowing down story. I don't think it would have changed the story.
I don't think it would change the story. I think it's all about pacing. It's like if you know you have more episodes, all of a sudden you have more time to tell the story. You can tell it a little differently. And that
Last year was tricky.
Last year was tricky because we essentially broke 13 episodes. Then we got the order after we had already broken the 13 episodes. So when we last spoke, at WonderCon, that's the situation we were in, where we had essentially a season finale and we had to add more episodes on there. The cool thing about it is that we've never told the story conservatively. Always pushed. We've always said, so what's the most exciting story to tell this week? There's no like, the one-armed man and we just missed it. No, it's like, okay, we're going to find more. We're going to go do this. So this season's going to be similar. It's like every episode will have something interesting, exciting turns. People are different at the end of the episode. And that's
we're always trying to deliver the same show every year, but with a slightly different kind of like mission statement or thesis question or overarching, kind of theme. So last season we had the Kung Fu download to deal with. This season we have Lawn to deal with. Hopefully it still feels like the same show every week. But our characters really do evolve. This isn't a show where who they are in episode 4 of season 1 is who they are in episode 4 of season 4. You can track real evolution, and I think that makes it fun for the actors too. And for the writers.
How many episodes have you got this season?
13.
I mean, it's going to be 13. There's no...
We don't know. Every year it's 13.
Okay.
Every year we start with 13.
We've never gotten
Sometimes it's 19. Sometimes it's 22. This could be 13. We don't know.
Okay.
We will treat it like we only have 13 more episodes of the show left.
Well, last season you guys had a lot of great guest stars, and from what I've heard, even though I did not make it into the panel, Linda Hamilton.
Yes.
So that's amazing. That's great. How did you decide upon Linda Hamilton, and what other guest stars do you have coming up?
The fans wanted Linda Hamilton. I mean, that was really out there. When people were like tweeting about who they want to see play Mom or writing on message boards, and that was somebody that we were talking about, last year, even before we had that reaction from the crowd. So when we sat down to meet with her, she was like, "So I hear I'm Chuck. I'm Chuck's mom."
Yeah.
And we're like, if you want to be, yes, that would be cool.
You're like, that's the easiest negotiation I've ever done.
Yeah, it went very smoothly.
It was very smooth.
But she liked the show.
Yeah. And the other part too is that Josh and I, we like to cast the show from the perspective of like what movies do Morgan and Chuck watch? Who would they be obsessed with? And in some ways she's perfect. She fits into the world of like the shows we watched growing up. And the Terminator, but also with like Beauty and the Beast.
How cool is it that Chuck's parents are, Zach Quantum Leap and Sarah Connor?
Exactly.
He's got the raddest
Captain
parents.
of Enterprise. Yeah.
Exactly. He's got the raddest parents ever.
Yes.
Speaking of that, we're going to see Sarah's Casey's We don't know anything about Sarah's
Gary Cole was great last year, Sarah's dad. I mean, you're going to start to know more about Casey's family, certainly this year, and his daughter, and that will definitely play a part in the show.
but not Sarah.
Never say never. They can always order more episodes. And then but Sarah's backstory will be explored, actually, because it's going to play a part of how Sarah and Chuck can be as a couple. I think we're all very influenced by our parents' relationships in terms of how we view relationships ourselves. And so that can't help but be a factor this year, where we're not going to introduce like a third-party romantic obstacle to them. The obstacles between you're welcome. Growing. And this year, I think there are going to be some real obstacles. The obstacles that come between them are the obstacles that any couple faces when trying to take the relationship to the next level. We must go.
All right. Thank you. Bye.